So what's the challenge this week with that D line? You guys have played D lines every week that are really good, but it's maybe better than all of them.
It's almost like a broken record. You sit there and, last week we talked about that defensive front, and you want to take a breath, but in the NFL you can't take a breath because we'll have 4 first-rounders up there on the front, and 90, 99 are obviously elite players, and 93, 94, I mean, they're very good, and it's going to be another great challenge. And with their scheme, they do a great job creating one-on-ones. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest challenges for our guys up front is, there's going to be some times that they're going to have to block them one-on-one, and we're going to have to hold up and get the ball out quick and still find our shots.
What does it do for you guys, Nathaniel, when you're able to mix the, like a pulling guard, power type of run with your usual, inside zone stuff when you're between the tackles? Because you guys were mixing them up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's always really important in any run game. It's like anything in the NFL. If you do one thing, a team is going to find a way to stop you. Whether you keep the quarterback in one spot and drop back and throw, whether you just run one kind of a run scheme, that's how they're going to set everything up. So when you have to start covering up the whole field for the outside zone, people are thinking going lateral and not downhill. So I think that once you get a couple of those downhill runs, it now makes them think, are they going to have to step up and get up into the gaps, or are they going to have to run sideline to sideline? So I think that's how that helps you so much, because those guys are expecting you to do something with an outside zone mentality. So they're thinking, hey, we got to run left and right, and then all of a sudden you're going downhill, and you could hopefully slow them from getting into their gaps. And I think we saw that a couple times this past week, which opened up some things in the run game.
Nathaniel, against Chicago, I think it was third quarter, but I remember just watching Runyon, and on one play, he went a little bit to the right, to the inside, but he didn't have a very good angle, and Hicks took him, and your run was stopped. The very next play, you went a little bit, you just kind of recalibrated, and the runner went right up the middle over the center, and this time Runyon was able to go to his right and then push Hicks back and completely handled him. And I just thought, it's amazing how little adjustment in a play can help a guard like that beat a guy. I mean, have you seen Runyon's progress like that within games?
Without a doubt. I mean, thinking about him going in when he first started, I want to say at the same time, I mean, even when he went in last year as a rookie, the great thing about him is it's not too big for him. Obviously, growing up in a football family, I mean, he loves ball, and he doesn't fear much. I mean, watching the Chicago game last year, he did a great job up there going against that front. But I think that, in this game, those players are so good, they're going to get you a couple times. And I think the good players understand that, that's going to happen. And it's about you, like you said, recalibrating. Hey, what did I do wrong? Okay, now if I just use my technique and fundamentals, I'll be able to get my job done because I know I can. And I think that's something that Runyon's done a really good job at. And he's done a good job. Really excited. All those guys up front have really done a good job. You look at just how the run game has kind of started heating up a little bit, which is going to start helping us even more. So I think it's been good up front.
Nathaniel, we saw Aaron do a quarterback sneak. We saw him with his touchdown Isolonu run. We saw him with a big run early on. How much of a component is his ability to run? I know he prefers to extend plays and throw the ball with his leg, using his legs, but how much of a bonus is that for having such an old guy at quarterback that he can still do it?
He'll tell you it's a huge part of his game. He'll let you know that he's a runner. But I think it is great to see him be able to get out of there and be dangerous. There's a lot of things that a defense can do for a quarterback that can't show that run capability. And that it adds more to the coverage component. So here they can drop more guys, they can play more man with 2 safeties back there, which takes away some of the passes. But when you do that, now you sacrifice the quarterback being able to run. So I think when Aaron does that, anytime he does that, it makes them second guess whether or not they can do that. Now, he's not necessarily a true running quarterback, but just being able to do that enough makes it so they have to get out of a couple coverages that are quite difficult to beat, and you have to have very specific things called. So, I mean, it helps a whole bunch. I mean, even the sneak, I mean, it was unbelievably efficient. We got the first down, which was great, and that's going to make some people, wonder if we're going to make that a part of what we do. So you got to defend a sneak, you got to defend all kinds of different things. So I thought he did a good job. And in the gold zone, we always talk about the quarterback can run at any time. So we always push that from extending a play to scoring a touchdown. And he's done it. I think he's got 2 touchdowns. running. He's got 2 touchdowns. So he's always been a threat down there, which is huge to have to cover him.
Speaking of the sneak, that's not something he has done a lot around here historically. He seems to think he's very good at it. Do you share that opinion? And are you philosophically in favor of that? Because there obviously is some danger to a Hall of Fame quarterback having to do that job.
I think sneaks are great. I mean, probably, a guy that's really good at it is Tom Brady. I mean, he's been doing it forever. I've heard a rumor that people have talked about him maybe not being the best sneak quarterback. Our experience here, since we've been here, going on our 3rd year now, he's been very efficient and done a really good job. So I feel as though he does a fine job. I don't know where those rumor comes from. Some people spread those around in the locker room. but
From your left tackle.
for some reason, I feel like I've heard him mention that a couple times. You always can hear him.
So talk about getting creative in the gold zone. It's Allen with the shovel pass, and then it's Aaron Jones with the little check down off to the left. I mean, does that excite you guys when you're creating that tape to say, hey, here's other ways that we can get this done?
Without a doubt. I think anytime you can involve other people, and I think that's one great thing about Allen. He's a big target down there. He's a guy that we've been using, and he's done, the things he's done just blocking. If you really look into it, he's blocked a couple good defensive ends down there to open up some runs for Aaron Jones. So it's always good when all of a sudden you can, have a distraction and then get him a touchdown. So I think that was something that we were really excited for with him. But you want people to have to cover everyone down there, and you don't want it just to go to Tay or just go to Aaron or just go to AJ. So I think that's great to make sure that people know you got to cover everybody. So you always want to try to get as creative as you can. I thought that was a great one right there, really good play. And then it's the next one was actually it was a check down, which those are the ones that I think first, so much credit to the offensive line to be able to hold up that long. And Aaron, when he's got that much time, good things are going to happen. And then when you dunk those things down just for a 3-yard completion, and then you watch Aaron Jones be able to do the things he does in space, and Mercedes, I believe he was in front blocking for him. That makes it hard in there. And I think those are the things that we've done in the past. Last year when we were really rolling, it was, hey, you're trying to get a shot. You're trying to get the ball to Allen or Tay or somebody, and sometimes it's not there, and that's okay. And one of our philosophies is you want to throw a touchdown to a check down. And when those check downs are going for touchdowns, it's a real positive thing, and that's get us some more goal.
That 41-yarder late in the game, Devontae was talking about that was actually Aaron talked about it in the game, that was an adjustment from years ago. When you're watching the game, do you ever wonder what the hell those guys are doing? Because it's not, in a good way, but when it's unfolding, do you ever sit there and wonder what's going on? Or have you seen all these things in practice over the years?
From the standpoint of the players, like the things that they can do?
Yeah, this is a McCarthy era adjustment that they made. It was just like a nod, like they both knew what was going to happen there.
It's really fun, being a coach, especially here, when you have a lot of veteran guys that have played a lot of football. As a coach, we go out there, we present things, we teach them. At least we feel like we're teaching them and showing them stuff. But I'll tell you, they teach us stuff too all the time. Heck, in practice today, you think a play is going to be running, all of a sudden something else happens, and it's a real cool completion down the field. And you don't know whether to celebrate it or make sure, does everybody know? But when they're on the same page, and things can happen. That's something that you talk about, you learn about. Why'd you do this? And that's what makes us grow as an offense. I always think that we give the foundation to them, and then they own the foundation after that. And they that offense becomes them. They're the ones that are out there playing. So you want them to always feel like they're playing football. We're not handcuffing them or keeping them just to specific rules. So I think that that's when you can really see an offense start blossoming. And I think, that, that could happen today in practice, and it was awesome. So I think those things are always great.
Two more and then Zoom.
Nathaniel, where do you think the downfield throws are right now in your offense, especially with, how much two deep safeties you're facing and that sort of thing? Where do you think that is, and how do you maybe get more opportunities if you can?
Yeah, as a coach, we always want more. We always want those explosive plays. We always want to have the threat of going downfield and throwing it. The most recent one, Tays had the two, the one he had versus Chicago. I thought the one was a great adjustment we made at halftime to Tay versus Cincinnati. I thought that was about as perfectly executed as you can dial up. I think it was in about the third, fourth quarter, something like that, in the second half, and Aaron threw it beautifully down to Tay. So I think that it's about always being aggressive and always trying to get those. And at times, when you see those checkdowns, it's because those were probably called, but they were so deep because they're nervous about that stuff. And then you throw a check down to AJ or Aaron, and you're going to get about 20 yards. So I think that we just got to continue to do them. And when they're there, we got to be, do the right thing, whether it is take the shot or be able to get the completion on the check down. So I think we're fine right now, and just always got to be aggressive.
You mentioned AJ and Aaron Jones. You guys had a great tandem last year. Is that combination, especially the last three weeks or so, is that exactly what you kind of have in mind with what those guys have been able to do together?
It was pretty impressive last week. For sure. I think the two of them together had over 130 yards. They were both averaging over 5 yards a carry. Anytime you can get any two backs, doing that is really good. So, if we can get that done every game, I think we're going to be in a good position to potentially win a game.
Sarah, let's go to Zoom.
Yep, we just have one, Aaron Nagler.
Coach, following up on your running back tandem, how much of their participation is predetermined as far as like game planning heading into the game itself during the week? And how much of that is, say, Ben or yourself determining, well, you know what, the defense is trying to do this to us, I think this guy would be better suited?
I think that as we go through the game plan each week, we try to specifically put people in positions to be successful. So we try to put, across the board from the wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs. So we have some specific things that we always want to do and have special for those guys. And then you've got that mindset of kind of who's hot, who's rolling. So I give a lot of credit to Ben. He knows when guys need a break, when a breather, because we want to try to keep everybody as fresh as we possibly can, especially two runners. It's a long season. It definitely takes a whole group. It doesn't take just one guy. In my opinion, the more that you can kind of spread it between those two, I think the better we're going to be as the season continues. So, Ben definitely, does that quite a bit, and we'll have those specific things for each individual guy.